I'm a huge beat 'em ups fan. Anybody who knows me and knows my taste in gaming is already very familiar with that. I've played tons of them. But here's one from Capcom that I'm not super familiar with. So, hey, Capcom's the company behind Final Fight and Knights of the Round, so we're off to a pretty good start. Let's see if this game lives up to the pedigree. Captain Commando is set in Metro City. Yes, the same city as Final Fight, but it's set in the far-off distant year of 2026. The planet is riddled with crime, and the worst of it is right here on Earth. A gang led by the tyrannical Scumicide has taken over with his band of lackeys, mutants, robots, and aliens. Enter the Commando team to clean things up, starting with Metro City. The concept, it's not too far out there. It's pretty much your basic beat 'em up with some sci-fi flair. And who are this Commando team, you may ask? Well, it's led by the titular Captain Commando, an all-around super guy with a suit with enhanced gloves and flamethrowers. Prior to this game, the Captain served as a bit of a mascot for Capcom. Hey, just look at that name. Two different iterations of the Captain appeared in packaging for Capcom's NES offerings up until 1990, but then Mega Man got big, so you know what happened there. His team also includes a ninja named Ginsu, who follows a form of ninjutsu pioneered by Guy from Final Fight. He carries swords that can cut through cans as easily as tomatoes. Then there's a mummy from outer space who carries a pair of knives able to melt through matter, and the team is rounded out by a super intelligent baby in a mech suit. Yeah, seriously, I couldn't make things up like this if I tried. The arcade cabinet for this game was frequently found as a big 4-player setup, not unlike Ninja Turtles or Gauntlet. Out of the different characters, I think that Ginsu, the Ninja Commando, is the most fun to play as. I usually don't go for the faster characters, but holy crap, did you see that? Did he just cut that dude in half? Oh wow, he did. I was not expecting that. Anyway, I don't usually pick the faster characters. Most beat 'em ups I prefer the well-rounded types, sometimes the powerhouses, but here I find Ginsu to be the most playable. He's got speed and reach that makes him extremely effective. Babyhead would be next on my list. As ridiculous as the character sounds, he is the muscle of the team. He does the pile driver just like Mike Hagar, and he also shoots missiles. Captain Commando himself is meant to be the balanced character, but I just don't feel like he's quite as effective as the other two I've mentioned already. And lastly, there's the Mummy Commando, Janetti, or Mac the Knife, whatever you want to call him. He just feels really kind of clunky and awkward to control. You'd think the power guy would be the slow one, but Mac, I'm not really sure where he fits on the spectrum. I just found him hard to play as. Like with other beat 'em up games, this sticks to the familiar 2-button control layout, just like Final Fight, Ninja Turtles, and so many others. Attack and jump, and when you push the two in unison, a special attack happens at the cost of some health. You can also dash with a double tap of a direction, which can be followed by an attack or even a jumping attack. You can also pick up weapons here, but instead of the familiar baseball bats, and swords, and knives, what you find in the usual brawler games, you'll find guns, machine guns, pistols, laser guns, rocket launchers. There's even mechs you can ride on as well. That's pretty different compared to other games in this genre. All the special moves and attacks are all unique to the character, which is a really nice touch. The standard enemy AI is pretty dumb, but they love to swarm around you. And the bosses, on the other hand, they are much tougher customers, which a couple times they even border a bit on the cheap side. That's no surprise, as this is an arcade game we're talking about here, and it is very obvious that this game was built on the same engine and architecture as Final Fight. Presentation-wise, this game is visually a step up from Final Fight as well as in gameplay. The colors are vibrant and plentiful, and all the characters are really well drawn. There's not even that much palette swapping to make different enemies going on here, and this is a beat 'em up, so that is usually really common. The art in the attract mode is also really good. All in all, it's the quality level you'd expect from Capcom in this time period. Another thing you'd expect from Capcom right now is music. Excellent game music. This game was composed by Masaki Uzutani, who composed a number of soundtracks for games from Capcom at this time. Like many of the others, there's a certain Capcom feel to the music, probably due to the arcade hardware, but many of them just have a certain sound and feel to them, In fact, if you listen to the music from the enemy spaceship stage, parts of it sound really similar to Ken's theme from Street Fighter 2. Playing the game for this review was actually a bit of a surprise. I had played the Super Nintendo port in the past, and I just really wasn't all that impressed with it. I had no idea just how watered down it was. Playing an emulated version of the original arcade game, be it on a Super Retrocade or a compilation disc, it's probably as close as I'll ever get to how the game was ever intended, and it's a much better experience to me than the Super Nintendo game, which at the time that I'm making this video goes for around $100. And there was also a port of this game on the PlayStation that was only released in Japan. That, of course, was a step up from that Super Nintendo one, but of course, PlayStation 1 games, so there's sure to be some loading time issues, and also, it's weird that you can only have 3 of the 4 playable characters at one time. On the Super Retrocade, the ROM is only the 2-player version of the arcade. If you want that 4-player experience for yourself, you can have it on Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2 for the PlayStation 2 or the original Xbox. Captain Commando, for the most part, is your traditional beat-em-up fare, but there is so much weirdness to character design that it gives the game so much personality, and that really helps it to stand out among the other beat-em-up games out there. And at the time that this game was out in the arcades, there were a ton of them out there. It was probably really easy to get lost in the fray. But that said, is this game any good? Absolutely it is. Anybody who's a fan of Final Fight or other beat-em-ups out there, they should check this out. I mean, I'm not saying run out, buy yourself a Super Retrocade just for this game. I mean, it's probably a good argument in its favor, but it's just one game. You could probably just grab yourself the Capcom Classics Collection and get yourself that. I mean, this thing runs pretty darn cheap, but hey, it's a good game, worth checking out. And let me throw the ball over to you now. What are your favorite Capcom arcade games? Leave a comment down below. I hope you've enjoyed the review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.